what you have received or what you've given away. I've been in a few days. You'll probably check on how much money that you spent that you couldn't afford. I always tell them, don't do it, don't overdo it. Just enjoy the presence of God and enjoy your family to have Christmas time together. We had a wonderful time with my family. Mom was not our family. And today's been a day that I've just rejoiced. And I praise Him for all of His blessings. I have a few things to share with you tonight. In the 6th chapter of the book of John, St. John, there is an incident that is recorded. Jesus and His disciples across the sea went up into the mountains, assumedly to rest. And when they arrived at their place, they looked up and saw a whole multitude of people coming. When Jesus saw that crowd of people, He knew there's no place in that area where they could find food. So He asked Andrew, I said, how can we feed these people? Would we have the money to feed them? Andrew said, well, it'd take a certain amount of money just for one family, and it never worked. And so they continued to talk about it, and we said, wait. There's a little boy, a little lad, that has his lunch. He has 2 small fish, 5 loaves of barley bread. Now when they talk about a loaf of bread, they were not talking about one of our loaves, 1 pound of loaf. It was kind of a flapjack type of thing. So it wasn't much. But he said, what's that amongst so many? Let us think for a few minutes about this lad, little boy. I don't know how old he was, but they called, when at least 12, 15 years of age, they still call him a lad or a boy. They didn't give an age limit. What's amazing to me was that this lad had his lunch. It was not extracted from him by force. He was not told, you've got to do this. Which reminds you and me that everything that we do in God's house, in God's business, is what we decide to do ourselves. Never in my life in the ministry have I used the pulpit to hammer on people. It's all comes from our heart. I also discovered too in the early years when I preached a whole lot about certain types of sin, I finally came to the conclusion I didn't have to do that because the Holy Spirit would come and bring conviction in their lives and would do a better job than I could do. So from then on I've left it up to Him. And man, He's done wonders and wonders to behold. So the little boy didn't have much to give, just his lunch. And I've heard people say, well, I don't have much to give, I'm going to just put my little tab in. But you give as God directs you. And you'll discover that if you will obey His voice, He will not fail you. I've been in this business a long time. I've heard the Lord speak to me many times about things that I've done, and He never fails. I can just think of them over and over. I used to carry a $100 bill in my billfold as kind of an emergency fund. I'd keep it in my billfold a couple of weeks or more or less, so the Lord helped me to give it to somebody. I never questioned Him, I gave it. I remember one time in particular, we just come home from Africa, went to Central Assembly, Springfield, on a Sunday evening as we got home. And the Lord told me to give a young man a $100 bill I had stuck away in my purse because he had a great need. So I found him and gave it to him. Of course, it brought big tears to his eyes and thanked me. I went back to my seat and sat down, and I felt a tap on my shoulder. And I saw a hand. He had a check in it. And the man who handed me the check said, "This is what God has spoken to me about." And it was such an exciting thing to see when you obey, whether it's large or small, doesn't make any difference. You have to give a dollar bill out of your hearts to do something for His kingdom. You'll be blessed. Then I thought about another incident that's spoken of in the word of the Lord. Jesus, His disciple, was watching people put money in the treasury. Whether it was taking an offering, I don't know how they were doing it, but people were marching by and putting money in the treasury to drop it in. And this woman went by and threw in not more than 25 or 30 cents. That was all she had. And His disciples, Jesus spoke to His disciples and said, "She has given more than any of the rest." So that question said, right, she didn't put it as if she finished. He said, but yet, that was all she had. And she gave out of her need. And God blessed her. I thought about that over and over and over through the years. I watched people, of course, it's my job to watch people, not to be criticizing or judging or measuring them against anybody else. I just watched. And I've seen those who have so little, but basically all they have at that time. I remember one time preaching in South Africa for a friend. He had a white church. Everybody came to his church were of white families. He had a few Indians to come. That was before the apartheid system was broken. He had me to preach one Sunday evening. And the Lord just spoke to me to talk about that one widow and putting in her all she had. Because she gave out of her need. And then I spoke about what I was engaged in doing, Mom and I were engaged in doing. We were building a church in Shellcross among for the Indians. Beautiful, beautiful building. I would put it up against any you see here in the States. God gave us a vision and gave us a burden, and we just did it. So I mentioned that building that church, just briefly. And I said, we are really building that church, not because some rich man has given us funds. It's because of people like you. You give on what you have. And I said, therefore, in a few months, it'll be mission accomplished. Wow. I can still see in my vision us putting up a tent beside the building when we dedicated it. And had a house full of people. I stood on the outside and looked. And I said, every brick and every shingle and every piece of steel that's in that building was given with people who had needs. Humble, made my heart ache and rejoice. But after preaching that night in a full gospel church, there was a guy came to see me the next day. He brought me a check for 1,000 rand, which was basically $1,000. He said, the Lord spoke to me to give this to you in the church. He said, I just lost my job a few days ago. I've taken this out of what little I have left over in savings, and I've given out of my need. Of course, I prayed. Then in a week or so, probably 2 weeks, I saw him. Oh, he said, I have got another job. It's a lot better than the job I lost. Pays a lot more. I just said, well, thank the Lord that you obeyed him. I didn't say that's what you think. It always happens because sometimes we give and don't get too much in return. I thought about several things. Mom and I have always paid our tithe. 10% of our income, sometimes going as high as 20%. Oh yes, we can about stuff with the other. But we believe and still believe that the greatest investment in the world is an investment in souls. It pays off in great dividends in the end. So the young boy volunteered and gave his 2 fish and 5 loaves of barley bread. And Jesus said, cause the people to sit down on the grass in 50s. And he held up the fish and the bread. And he thanked God, his Father, for the provisions that he had provided, that he gave to his disciples. and they passed it out. I thought about that more than once several times to think about it. I wonder how those disciples felt when they saw those 2 little fish and 5 little loaves of bread. Because one had already said, let's have to love so many. And every time they read out, they went back to the master. And he filled up their basket again to go and take it to those who in need. He said, let them eat all they want to eat. Then when they had finished, he said, now go gather up the remains, so nothing will be lost. They went and gathered up 12 baskets full of fish and bread. Does that make goosebumps pop? I don't even think about the miracle working power of our God. Yeah. Jesus spent most of his time here on earth, as John the Revelator described him. Everything he did was to identify himself as God's Son, as God himself. He was both man and God. He only used the supernatural when it was somebody else and some other special need. And every time he performed a miracle, it was to establish his identity as God's only Son, only begotten Son. Amen. However, the organized religious church amongst the Jews, high priest and priest of all the scriptures, and the highest court that they had was called the Sanhedrin court. They refused to accept him. They rejected him as God's Son. They did it out of jealousy. They did it because the priests, especially the high priest, cooperated with the Roman government in exchange for funds and for winning buildings. That's a fact. So they were afraid if Jesus came into power, he would do away with their blessings from the Roman government. So they had him crucified. Do you remember the high priest, when they talked about the shedding of his blood? He said, let his blood be upon us and our children and our grandchildren. They were not afraid to crucify him. I've never read this in a book. I never heard anybody preach this book myself. They released a murderer amongst the people. And later on in the years, Hitler came along and murdered millions of Jews. Think about that for a few moments. I thank the Lord, give, and it shall be given unto thee with good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and right over. Whatever you give, do it because you love him and because you're volunteering to do it. You pay your tithe even though you think you can't afford it. But you will discover if you'll do it, you'll be able to afford it, and other things will come. Amen. So I brought you a message from my heart tonight about whatever you give, if it's out of a need, you will be blessed, and you'll bless the project that's set before you. I've been able to help the Lord to raise funds and build over 300 tabernacle churches. And I've always been aware that every church, tabernacle church that we finished and went inside and dedicated to the Lord, that I was dedicating something that many people had given out of their need to see it accomplished. That will be a grand day when the trumpet sounds and calls us all to come home. I don't know what heaven is going to look like, neither do you. We can only imagine, only think, and use what evidence we have that it's going to be a wonderful place. But I kind of have a feeling, I don't know if it will come to pass, that we'll have the opportunity to bring all of those efforts together that was saved in the tabernacle churches. And everyone who gave will be there to see with their own eyes and feel with their own spirit. This is what my mind brought to pass. My 25 cents, all that I had. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Amen. Join me in this prayer. Our Father in heaven, we want to thank you for all your blessings. Needless to say that we're unworthy, but you have made us worthy by the shedding of your blood. Only through the righteousness of God can we rejoice. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for these dear friends who make up the tabernacle church. Not this tabernacle, not the ones overseas. I'm talking about our Cowboy church, Lord. I thank you for every one of them, Lord. I know that many have given what they didn't think they could. But it's moving. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Amen. Let this coming year be a gigantic year for the Cowboy church and the arena. We put it in God's hands, in the greatest hands in all the world. Ooh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Amen.